At a physical level, again, if we see, we nourish ourselves with so many things. At a mental level also, there is a greater way of enriching. There are various ways of enriching our mental realm for which we interact. We attend such courses. For spiritual fulfillment, nourishment of the soul, what sort of nutrition shall we require? Today we will explore what is this consciousness, what is it made up of, and how to help it evolve. Simple definition of consciousness is degree of our awareness. Degree to which I am aware, that also means to degree to which I am unaware. How to make our available consciousness go into higher mode, into super consciousness, and dive deeper into our subconsciousness. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, where he says, the purpose of life is to make this available consciousness to soar higher into the sky of subconsciousness and allow it to dive deeper into subconsciousness, into the ocean of subconsciousness. Somewhere he has also spoken about it, where he says, our available consciousness is sandwiched between two giant oceans. So, through yoga, through yogic practices, we explore this consciousness. We play with consciousness. Finally, we have to transcend even the consciousness. Let's see what this consciousness is made up of. In Sanskrit, we call Chit. Chitta is made up of Manas, Buddhi, and Ahankar. So, consciousness is made up of mind, intellect, and ego. Now, when we explore this further, what becomes of mind as it evolves? What becomes of intellect as it evolves? And what becomes of ego as it evolves? When we meditate, especially in the heartfulness way, with the help of yogic transmission, with pranahuti, we begin with this idea that my heart is filled with the presence of divinity. Or we begin with this suggestion just before the meditation that my heart is filled with the source of divine presence, which is attracting me inwards. So we begin with a mere thought, mere sankalpa, mere suggestion, a prayerful suggestion. Now, if this thought remains a thought, and I go on repeating like a mantra, then I will be too busy with recitation, with thought. Then mind will not go anywhere. It will be busy simply with this thought. It is trapped. It became habitual. It remains trapped in its unconscious, habitual format. It must allow us to feel the presence that upon which we are meditating. When I am meditating on the presence of divinity in my heart, I must be able to feel the essence of divinity. And what is that essence of divinity? Absolute silence, absolute love. It comes in incremental way. Incremental because there too we need some level of tolerance. We have lost the ability to grasp and feel that ultimate silence, ultimate peace. So, the doses of peace and calmness and samadhi-like states that we receive will have to match with our level of tolerance, level of acceptance, level of purity. Greater the purity, greater will be the depth in which we'll be diving. So, as we meditate, we move from the initial thought, the thought that there is presence of divinity in my heart, and slowly in the same meditation we begin to feel the presence. So we move from thinking to feeling. Thus, we are training our mind to orient more towards the heart. We move from the reactive mind to responsive heart. This journey of moving from reactive mind to responsive heart is unique. We need not wait for years or next life. It has to be experienced here and now. And this is possible because of this yogic transmission pranahuti offered under Heartfulness way of meditation. Heartfulness way of meditation through pranahuti helps us soar higher into superconsciousness. Superconsciousness is a feeling. It can be felt. It cannot be thought. I cannot fabricate my thoughts while I'm in superconsciousness. You can play with your thoughts in ordinary level of consciousness. Through meditation, I think, first of all, we get these glimpses of who we are. When we meditate, and especially in heartfulness way, all our weaknesses come forefront. They get highlighted. And once these weaknesses remain highlighted, you have no other choice but to work on them. You become more aware. Later on, what about the strength? You will not be happy with whatever strength or expertise you have. Through meditation, there is infinite possibility where you say, I have done so well so far, but I like to improve further. The entire purpose of yogic sadhana is to revolutionize this inner consciousness. Only when the consciousness of many individuals in the society begins to rise, when a critical mass of collective consciousness shift is attained, only then will the aggregate of humanity will be destined to change even at a higher level. There will be more peace, there will be more harmony. We have to begin with inner harmony at an individual level first. In the field of spirituality, especially, theories and dogmas do very little good to us. Personal experience is the name of the game here. There is an old saying, worms ate up thousands of books but did not receive any certificate of erudition. I am sure that there is no need for me to explain the insignificance of such a sort of education, especially when it comes to spiritual side of our existence. Knowledge is good, knowledge is valuable, but knowledge on its own cannot transform or even change me. It is unable to move us towards perfection on its own. It's a great beginning, but it must not end there. For instance, everybody knows that patience is a virtue. Everyone knows that honesty is good. Does this mean that patience and honesty are prevalent in today's world? We require something beyond knowledge. We meditate because we seek change at some level. We may define that change in various ways as per our individual needs and goals. Some people meditate for stress reduction. Others say, I want to merge with God. Everyone's reasons will be different, but one of the beautiful things about meditation is that it continuously opens our eyes to newer levels of aspiration. The reason that you start meditation is rarely the same reason that you continue to meditate later on with. As our perspective changes, so do our aspirations. When our aspirations are higher, greater possibilities open up to us. At this juncture, I would like to clarify that aspiration is different than ambition. Ambition is to get something, it is to gain status or goods. Aspiration is something else entirely. In one sense, we can say that aspiration is to become something. But even that is a little too acquisitive. True aspiration is when the heart cries out, longing for purity and simplicity. And there are infinite levels of purity and simplicity. So we can regard this spiritual journey as an infinite one, where every level of achievement ennobles us and opens our eyes to new possibilities. There are very few pursuits in life that can offer infinite growth. You may work out at gym every single day and drink all sorts of protein drinks, milkshakes, but eventually the growth of the body will be finally controlled by your genetic predisposition. A person who is predisposed to grow 5'5" will grow to be 5'5". He may exercise and try his best. Maybe he might grow to be 5'5.6 and a half perhaps. But he can certainly not become 6-footer. So we have limitations at a physical level. It is largely controlled by our genetic predisposition, but there is some level of flexibility. At the mental level, we have greater flexibility. A son of a farmer has a great potential or a possibility of graduating, having post-graduation, becoming PhD, isn't it? At the mental level, we have greater flexibility. See? But though we have flexibility to become PhD and double PhD, still there is a difference. Can we compare ourselves then with great souls like Einstein? No way. So there is also some sort of a mental barrier beyond which we cannot cross. Next one is spiritual potential. It is infinite. At the physical level, we have limited possibility of growth. At a mental level, such flexibilities open up to a greater extent, and at a spiritual level, there is infinite possibility. At a physical level, again, if we see, we nourish ourselves with so many things. At a mental level also, there is a greater way of enriching. There are various ways of enriching our mental realm, for which we interact, we attend such courses. For spiritual fulfillment, nourishment of the soul, what sort of nutrition shall we require? Here where this meditation and the heartfulness makes all the difference.
What if the deepest suffering has a higher purpose? Watch the next video, The Spiritual Solution to Pain, Guilt, and Suicide.